Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Wednesday, August the 5th. As you can see, SPY, really solid push towards our all-time highs. We ended up gapping above our all-time highs and having continuation yesterday. Daily time frame, as you can see, really strong push. We have the SPY leading the markets, Q's nice rally so far as well, along with some of the semiconductors. So coming into today, we have a couple things to talk about. With of course the markets pushing higher. We had AMD earnings yesterday. That is down roughly 9%. SpaceX earnings as well, down roughly 10%. Nvidia is moving nicely in the after hours today. We do have SNDK along with WDC. So we do have a couple things to talk about coming to market open with some orange folder news events here as well. Before we head on to the economic calendar, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Did you guys take any trades the past couple of sessions? What's up, Kelvin, J-Tan? Good morning, B Roots, Maria. Good morning, Knight, Cody, Gerald, Kelvin. I was asking whether you specifically trade earnings that happens during post market. Are you talking about as soon as earnings drop, or like a pre-earnings trade? Because a lot of times a lot of times people are gonna trade before earnings and after earnings. Or are you talking about as soon as earnings drops and then you're just looking to scalp it? Most of the times the trades will come with the volatility, and you're gonna position yourself before earnings, or you're gonna trade, wait for the volatility to die down, and then trade after earnings. What's up, Gio? Good morning, Juan, Kevin, Sinna, Eliza. What's up, Lamed, Wallace, Ryan, Z, Norris, Wisdom, Alejandro. Good morning, Andrea, Andy. What's up, everyone? Yeah, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's pull up the economic calendar here and we will get started. Yeah, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Did you guys take any trades yesterday and the day prior? I know we've had a couple nice opportunities. The markets have been trending nicely here as well within the past few sessions. What platform for charting? I'm using TradingView, and then for my broker, I'm currently using Interactive Brokers. There's a bunch of different other brokers. I'm not sponsored by anything, or I'm not affiliated with any broker. If you're in the US, any sort of regulated broker is most likely going to do the job. TQQQ options held for the last 2 days plus 515. Thank you, Jack. Awesome, Randy. Glad to hear. All right, let's head on to the economic calendar. As for some of the news events that we have coming into market open, we do have the ADP non-farm enrollment change. That's going to be at 8:15. ISM services PMI. That's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have President Trump speaking later into the day. That's going to be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So a lot of orange folder news events today. We have some tomorrow with the unemployment claims. And then on Friday, we have the average hourly earnings month over month. And then we have the non-farm enrollment change plus the unemployment rate here as well. So that's what we have for the economic calendar. Let's take a look at the earnings calendar here. What do we have so far? Yesterday, we had AMD, SpaceX. Today, we have Shopify, Uber in the morning. We have a couple other big ones to keep an eye out for. SanDisk, along with Western Digital. As of recent, the overall memory names have been a lot weaker, but SanDisk and WDC are reporting, so that is something to keep in mind for the whole semiconductor market, more so in specific memory tickers. So that's something to keep in mind. Other tickers we have is APP, and then we have a couple other ones, Beyond Meat. But the main ones today is just going to be SanDisk along with Western Digital. Palantir as well. We talked about Palantir yesterday. That one ended up moving up super nicely after earnings. We talked about Palantir on the higher time frames, and we'll talk about that here a little bit more in a second. But yeah, with that being said, let's head on to the charts and what we have here now coming into market open. Starting off with the major indices, let me grab some water here and then we'll get started. Okay, let's head on to the SPY chart. Brother, I took the same Tesla call like you on Monday. Want to ask what type of contracts you buy, 0 days or days with expiration. Normally, I like to buy a little bit of time, so you're able to hold. So for something like Tesla, the trade was above our previous day highs. So above our previous day highs, looking for continuation towards the upside. Normally, this would be a very difficult hold if you're trading a 0 day contract. So for Tesla, it's better if you're to choose Wednesday's expiration or Friday's expiration compared to something like a Monday's expiration. Monday's expiration would have got you up and towards high of day, and then it would have been a little bit harder to hold throughout this consolidation for continuation higher. So I personally chose the Wednesday's expiration, which was the August 5th 320 calls. Good rule of thumb is just choosing one out the money, and then you can choose weekly expirations. That's the go-to. If you choose 0 day contracts, as I mentioned, sometimes it can be a little bit more difficult. All right, with that being said, let's take a look at the overall markets. In the past couple of days, we ended up having a pretty solid rally towards the upside, up over 6% here on the SPY. What are we doing currently? We talked about this push higher, we consolidated, and now we're having this next leg towards the upside. We're breaking above our previous all-time highs, and now we want to see continuation here in the overall markets. This is the time in the market where most people don't think it's going to move higher, right? After this period of consolidation, we've been ranging and now we're finally starting to break out. What we want to see here on the SPY is, of course, continuation towards upside. Right now, the market's starting to trend again. We're going to be looking for a lot more continuation on the overall markets. All we want to see is as long as you can maintain above that 760, we're going to be looking for, of course, continuation towards the high. So now we understand the higher time frames are bullish, the weekly's bullish, the daily's bullish, the hourly time frame is very bullish here now as well. What are some of the levels that we can have marked out? Really, the only levels that matter in this case is just going to be that previous day lows, and then we can also have marked out our previous day highs. So for the SPY, the main level coming into today is going to be that 772 previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. What we like to see is the hold above our 772 for continuation towards the upside. So that's what we have for SPY. This is the number one scenario. Another possible scenario that we have here as well is just going to be the break above our pre-market highs for continuation. Let's say, for example, somehow the overall markets do decide to pull back, right? There's not really any levels of resistance since we're at all-time highs, but let's say we just randomly pull back coming into market open. Then we're just going to be waiting for the reclaim back above for continuation, right? Since the higher time frame is still very much bullish, any sort of dip that we do have, we want to be looking for a continuation higher. If we go on to the ES, what are the levels that we have marked out coming into today? Let's mark out that previous day highs here as well. Other levels, we kind of just marked out a couple down close candles, but the main level coming into market open, right? If you kind of just zoom out here on the ES, similar thesis came down into a key technical level. Now we're making a brand new all-time highs. We're just going to mark out that previous all-time highs here on the daily, and we just want to see continuation. If we're on the hourly time frame, and we're on the lower time frames, the levels that we're going to have marked out is just going to be that previous day highs, which is that 77.80. So as long as you can maintain above that 77.80, continuation higher. Another possible scenario above our pre-market high for, of course, continuation towards the upside here as well. The SPX is currently above our 7,700. So if we took a look at the SPX, similar thesis, right? This one very much bullish. Higher lows are being, sorry, not higher lows. Key level support bounce. We're breaking above that all-time highs, and now you can see pretty solid push towards the upside. So as long as you can maintain above our previous all-time highs, we're going to be looking for, of course, continuation towards the upside. All right, let's take a look at the QQQ here. So the Qs has not made a new all-time highs as of yet. But you can see so far, this weekly candle is flipping bullish, right? You can see we're breaking above its previous week's high, we're breaking above the week prior, and now we're gravitating up in towards our 720, which is a key level of resistance. SPY's at our all-time highs here now as well. What would we like to see? If we can break above the 720, then the next level that we have is going to be that all-time highs on the Qs. So we talked about the reclaim on the QQQ back above this 690. Once we were able to do that, you can see gap up yesterday, nice continued push towards the upside. We are in another key level of resistance here. So yesterday, the key technical levels that we have marked out was at 708. You can see once we broke above that 708, we talked about that move up in towards 716. And of course, the next level on the higher time frames is our 728. So coming into market open here now today for the Qs, after having a really solid push up after FOMC, right? You can see after FOMC, that's basically when the market's bottomed. We also had other major news events as well. And now you can see we're rallying towards the upside. What are the key levels that we have coming into market open? What I have marked out is that previous day highs. Other levels that I have marked out is that 718. What I'd like to see today above our previous day highs for continuation. Another possible scenario, if price comes back down into that pre-market lows, we can be looking for that pre-market low reclaim, undercut reclaim for a pushback towards the upside. So these are the couple scenarios. You could also see a bounce here off that 718 as well and still be bullish for continuation towards the upside. If we take a look at the NQ here, what are the key technical levels that we have marked out? As you can see, if we're on the daily chart, the key levels that we have marked out is this 30,000. You can see a couple touches around this general area. You can see multiple lower highs were being built. Once we're able to break back above our 28,400, now you can see, right, we're having continuation higher. Key technical levels in this case, 30,000. If we reject off this level, we can see a little bit of a pullback. Now, if we get above, we can just see continuation back up in towards our all-time high. So that's what we have for the Qs coming into market open, or the NQ. Key technical levels that I have marked out today is going to be that previous day highs. We can just mark out this general area if we want to see continuation above our previous day highs for a push towards the upside. Another possible scenario is going to be the bounce off our pre-market lows for continuation back towards the upside here as well. So overall markets, bullish, Q, SPY, we're just going to be looking for continuation. As long as you can hold key technical levels, as long as we really maintain above that previous day lows, we're going to be bullish. And in this case, it could pull all the way back in towards our previous day's range, and we'd still be bullish for, of course, continuation back towards upside. Now let's go on to the semiconductors. The semis, as you can see, have been lagging behind compared to the overall markets. As of recent, we are seeing a nice bounce here on the semiconductors, but not as strong compared to the SPY or the QQQ. So the SMH is right back up and towards that 580. What we do want to see now is the break back above for continuation towards the upside. We do have a couple of things with some semiconductors reporting, specifically memory here tonight. So we'll keep that in mind. But as for the lower time frames, what is the key levels that I have marked out? For SMH, technically, we're still underneath key levels. In this case, it is our 580. What I would like to see is the reaction that we have off our previous day highs. If we can get above our previous day highs, we can see continuation towards the upside. In this case, it does seem like potentially we could build up a higher low on the SMH off our 560. So a pullback is potentially in play. You can see SMH is definitely a little bit more weaker than the Qs and SPY. The SMH is in between its previous day's range compared to the Qs at the top of the range. And then, of course, SPY is the one that's leading the market above our previous day highs for continuation. So with that being said, for the semis, keep an eye out on that previous day highs coming into market open. If we go on to the IWM, we talked about above our previous day highs here. IWM moving up very nicely here now as well. Nice bounce above our 295. We talked about that all-time highs move. What would you be looking for on IWM in this case? A similar move to the SPY. right? This one is now gravitating towards our all-time highs. Let's see if the IWM can break above and continue towards the upside. Key technical levels that we have marked out is that previous all-time highs. Now for the IWM here today, you're just going to be looking for the break above, retest, continuation. Kind of a similar setup to SPY yesterday as it broke above that all-time highs. You're just going to be looking for continuation above your pre-market highs and that previous all-time highs. So for the IWM, similar thesis, you're going to be looking for maintain a long bias above our previous day highs for continuation, as long as you can maintain above that 302 here on the higher time frames. So with that being said, let's take a look at the tech names and what we have coming into market open here now, starting off with Tesla. If you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. Let's see if we can get to 200 likes today. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the top link in the description below. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers now, you guys can drop them in the chat. We're doing pretty good on time so far today. There's quite a bit of tickers to keep in mind as well, just with the higher time frames breaking out. We'll start off on Tesla here. I'll grab some water and then we'll get started. Okay, let's talk about Tesla. What is moving the SPY and Qs? Yeah, a lot of the Mag 7 names have moved the overall indices higher. Apple or Google, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, those ones have bounced nicely as of recent. Just with the overall markets continuing higher, right? The SPY has been leading, and then of course the Qs have been lagging, and then the SMH as well. So even Nvidia now rebounding nicely within the past couple of weeks. We'll talk about that here in a second. So let's talk about Tesla on the higher time frames. What is Tesla? The higher time frames isn't going to give us the best indication of what Tesla wants to do in the short term. We're going to more focus on the hourly time frame here on Tesla. What are the key levels that we have marked out? We have our 314, of course, and then we have our 324. So coming into today here on Tesla, we're just going to still have that high that we have on Monday marked out. You can see yesterday came up, a little bit of rejection, broke back above, and we're now just kind of consolidating in this general area. What we want to see here on Tesla is the reaction that we have off our 324. If we can get back above reclaim, we can see this push back up and towards that previous day highs. Another possible scenario above our previous day highs, continuation back towards the upside here as well. The only way you're interested in a little bit more downside on Tesla, if we reject here off that 324, show some weakness, we can see a push down in towards that previous day lows and potentially below. Tesla, I'm neutral here, right? If we zoom out just a little bit after earnings, we ended up having that push lower. Now you can see we're kind of right at this 324. On the hourly time frame, we very much well can kind of reject and push towards the downside. If the hourly time frame wants to flip, then we can see this move back up and towards 340. So fairly neutral here on Tesla, could go either way. Let's talk about AMD. AMD recently had earnings, pretty solid earnings on AMD, but we are pushing lower, negative reaction. And now we're down roughly only 8%, not that big of a move on AMD. Let's take a look at this one on the weekly time frame. This one right here, as you can see, definitely been a lot more in sort of consolidation the past couple of months. If you're on the daily time frame here as well, we did reclaim back above yesterday, but we talked about having earnings, so you want to be a little bit more cautious. And then with earnings, we are now kind of right back down into that 470. So for AMD, rejected right off the area that we broke down from, and now we're right back into that area that we bounced from, which is that 470. Some of the levels that I have coming into market open, let me just kind of refine some of these ones, but we can also mark out that previous day highs here as well. So for AMD, what are the levels that we have coming into market open? We have our 480, we have our 530. For AMD, I'm not expecting too much day one after earnings, right? We're kind of just pushing back into the level that we were at earlier into the week, which is our Monday's lows. So for AMD, I would just mark out that pre-market high, and I'm also going to mark out that earnings low. That's going to be key. Let me just refine this down in towards our Monday's lows. So we have a couple levels, and then we can also mark out this one here as well, which is just going to be that pre-market high. So for AMD coming into market open, you're just going to mark out that pre-market high in that earnings low. If you do want to see a potential earnings reversal play back above our pre-market highs for a push up in towards this 505, if you want to see some downside, potential pop and fade here off our pre-market highs, or now underneath that 465 for a continuation towards the downside. So a couple scenarios on AMD coming into market open here today. As for NVIDIA, this one is pushing up nicely. If you're looking at this one on the daily chart, or even the weekly time frame, NVIDIA bouncing right off that 190. Now we're trying to break back above this period of consolidation. Keep an eye out on NVIDIA for the break back towards our all-time highs here. Let's take a look at NVIDIA above our 212. As you can see, touch here, touch here, touch here. Now let's see if we can break, retest, continuation above our 212 here on NVIDIA. Key technical levels that I have marked out is basically this exact level, right? 212. We can even mark out another level here as well. We can kind of put this up into that 214. So you have our 214 slash our 212 general area. Both of these are very key. We can even draw this out down and towards that previous day high. So this whole area is going to be key on NVIDIA. Right, so coming into market open, this is our previous day highs. This is also our higher time frame key level here as well. Breaking above it in the after hours. Now what we like to see is the hold above our 214 for continuation towards the upside. So this is our exact level for NVIDIA coming into market open. Another possible scenario is going to be the break above our pre-market highs. If we can break above our pre-market highs, we can be looking for continuation towards the upside. So for NVIDIA key levels, let's just look for, this is just more so like a higher time frame break. If we're looking at this one on the hourly time frame or even the 4-hour chart, we just draw this out, right? You can see rejection, came back down at a level support. Now we're trying to break above. Let's see if we can hold this level for continuation towards the upside. So the exact level that we have marked out, 212. Keep an eye on NVIDIA break and retest for continuation higher. So 212, 214 coming into market open here. As for Apple, this one bounced off the bottom of the range that I talked about yesterday. So for Apple, right off our 302, and you can see buyers are stepping in for this continued pushback towards the upside. Other key technical levels that we have marked out here now as well is that 310. Above that 310, continuation back up and towards that pre-market highs and above. If we reject off that 310, we can see a move right back down in towards our pre-market lows. Let's take a look at Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon. Of course, if you go on to the higher time frames, starting off with Google, key levels that we have marked out is at 370. As you can see so far, buyers are stepping in. Let's keep an eye on Google hold for a pushback up in towards that all-time highs here, of course. So 370 hold for continuation on Google for a push towards the upside. If we're on the lower time frames, what are the levels that we have marked out? It's at 370 along with that 372. We can also mark out that previous day highs here as well. I do like this 372 level the best. And then, of course, we can mark out that previous day highs, which is our 377.50. So two scenarios, maintain above that previous day highs continuation. If we pull back down in towards that 372, still be bullish for, of course, continuation back towards the upside. Microsoft was one of the names I talked about for a hold of this kind of previous all-time highs area. If you look at Microsoft, this one's fairly bullish. All we're looking for is the hold above our 460. Now we're looking for that push back up in towards that all-time highs here on Microsoft. So keep an eye out on Microsoft. Key technical levels that we have marked out is just going to be our 476. Other levels that we have marked out here now as well is going to be our Monday's highs, 492. So we want to see the hold of that 476. And now what we like to just see is a hold of that 492 for, of course, continuation back towards the upside. Microsoft, very strong bounce off the lows. We just want to see that push now. Really, the next levels that we have on Microsoft back above this 500 is going to be actually our all-time high. So if we can get above that 500, maintain above that 500, then we can see that push eventually back up in towards our all-time highs here on Microsoft. As for Meta, we talked about the bounce off our key level support. Meta is in a very good spot. Right now, we're just bouncing off of key level support. I do like this mean reversion here on Meta. What are the levels that I have marked out? It's going to be that 596. If you go onto the hourly time frame, this is our earnings high here. Now for Meta, if we can get above that 596 hold, we can see continuation towards the upside. If we reject, then we can see a push back down in towards that 580. As for Amazon, Amazon's going to be one of my main watches coming into market open here today. This is our previous all-time highs retest. You can see yesterday we came back down into that previous all-time highs. Let's keep an eye out on Amazon continuation today. It looks a little bit better here on the hourly time frame, but this is our exact previous all-time highs retest level. So Amazon looks really solid. Yesterday we had a lot more consolidation. We had an inside bar day. Now what we're looking for is a break above our previous day highs, flip for a continuation back up in towards our previous day highs and above. So Amazon looks really good. One of my main watches coming to market open. If I want to refine some of the levels that we have marked out, in this case, we have our previous day lows marked out, and now we can also mark out that previous day high. So Amazon, let's keep an eye on that previous day high retest for a continuation or some sort of 278 bounce for a push higher, right? This looks like an hourly flag pattern, and now we want to see that push up in towards our all-time high. So nice push after earnings. Now we're consolidating. We're above our all-time highs. We're creating this hourly flag. Let's look for that next leg towards the upside here on Amazon. Other names to keep an eye out for: Netflix. This one slowly pushing back towards the upside. Key technical levels still going to be this 76. Above 76, you can see a move back up in towards 80. Rejection, we're going to see a push right back towards the downside. And of course, SpaceX. A little bit of buyer stepped in the past few days, but of course with earnings, rejection right back towards the downside. So for SpaceX, we are back into a key technical level support, which is that 110. So that's what we have for some of the tech names coming to market open here today. Now I'm going to head on to a few other tickers. AVGO breaking out. Talked about this one yesterday. Palantir as well for continuation. So a lot of names are moving up nicely here now. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. Okay, let's start off on AVGO, and let's take a look at this one here on the daily time frame. So for AVGO, as you can see, we've been consolidating a lot for the past, I'd say, couple months. After earnings gap towards the downside, we end up pushing lower, and now you can see we're consolidating and we're trying to break outside this range here on AVGO. This is our previous all-time highs here as well, but buyers stepped in pretty aggressively yesterday, and now we're closing back above at least this range that we have marked out, and then we have this a little bit of a bigger range. So for AVGO, what would I like to see coming into market open? And what are some of the levels that I have marked out? Number one, we have our 404. I talked about the break and hold yesterday. We ended up having a nice 5-minute range retest as well for continuation. Other levels that I have marked out now is just going to be our 414. So for AVGO, if I go back onto the lower time frames here now, the key levels that I have marked out today, I guess I got rid of the EMAs here as well. So for AVGO coming into market open here, the key levels that I have marked out today is going to be that 414. previous day highs along with that 407. Maintain above that 414, continuation towards upside above that 4 previous day highs. We can look for a continuation here as well. AVGO, of course, it does look good with, of course, the higher time frames breaking out now as well. We do have quite a bit of room, 430, and we have this huge gap that we can look to fill on AVGO back towards the upside. Let me just pull up this indicator here. Okay, let's go on to Palantir. Palantir is the next chart. We can take a look at this one here on the daily time frame. Key levels that we have marked out on AVGO, or sorry, on Palantir is our 160. So yesterday, we ended up opening up. We talked about really the next level being 160, moved fairly quickly within one session, already back up in towards our 160 here on the daily chart. We are at a key level of resistance. Now, if we can break above that 160, we can definitely see a lot more continuation here just with the relative strength. So Palantir, let's keep an eye out on. Now it's going to be this 162. That's going to be the key levels coming to market open above our previous day highs, continuation towards the upside. So that's what we're going to be looking for on Palantir today. Just longs above our previous day highs for push up in towards 170. If we have a little bit of rejection, then we're going to be waiting for the reclaim setup towards 170 here as well. Take a look at MU. MU, this one definitely lagging behind compared to everything else. We do have SNDK earnings along with WDC. So that's why some of the memory names have been not, I wouldn't say a little bit weaker, but definitely lagging the markets. If we're taking a look at DRAM here, definitely not as significant as a bounce compared to the SMH, the Qs, and the SPYs. So semis definitely have been a little bit weaker, more so the memory ETF. Now for the memory, we like to see it back above our 56 for any sort of continuation higher. MU, you can see a little bit weaker. Key technical levels on MU is going to be our 900. What I would like to see here on MU is break above 900, hold, or now come back down into towards that 840 for continuation higher. SNDK does have earnings. Let's keep an eye on SNDK, maintain above that 1360 for a continuation here today. It does have earnings, so I'll be a little bit more patient on this one, or now above our previous day highs for a push higher. INTC, another one coming into market open here today. Key technical levels that we have marked out is that earnings high. So technically, we did come up into a key level yesterday, which is that earnings high in the after hours. And you can see a little bit of sellers stepping in. Now we're back at our 97. What I like to see is a hold above our 97 for continuation towards the upside. So for INTC, keep an eye on the hold above 97 for continuation. Above our previous day highs, we can see a push towards the upside here as well. For WDC, this one is consolidating. Keep an eye on WDC on the daily time frame. If we have good earnings, we very much well can be right back above 600. The implied move on SNDK is roughly 19%. So it's fairly, we're either going to have a drop all the way back down in towards really this 1200, or if we end up moving higher, right, 1600 to 1200. So pretty big move. The implied move is pretty big here on SNDK today. As for SK Hynix, this one right at a key technical level, which is just that 152. MBIS, nice bounce as of recent right off that previous all-time highs. So MBIS dip ads are playing out right off that previous all-time highs. Now what we like to see is the break above 240 for continuation, or now the bounce play here off our 200 for a pushback towards upside as well. MRVL, right off our key level of support. Now what I like to see is the break back above this 220. That's going to be key. So far, you can see nice buyers are stepping in as of recent. Back above that 220 is going to be key. If we reject, then we can see a move right back down in towards that 200. So that's what we have on MRVL. As for TSM, a lot of these ones, similar thesis, just keep an eye out on the daily time frame for continuation. Hood, if we can get back above that 94. Another name that I like, which one was I going to go over? Let's take a look at, AEIO. This one has had a really strong bounce within the past week, right off for 80. This basically has been up roughly 80% in the past couple of sessions. So a lot A lot of these names are having a kind of like a dead cat bounce. Some of these ones won't hit all-time highs, with of course the SPY and Qs pushing back towards the highs as well. But just look for continuation, especially with the overall markets continuing higher. We're going to look for the Qs to gravitate towards our all-time highs here now as well. And of course, there's a lot of room on a lot of the semiconductors for a move back towards the upside. With that being said, at least for today, what is my game plan coming into market open? What we're going to keep an eye out for today is just similar thing as the past couple sessions. Above our previous day highs, we're going to be looking for continuation. SPY, similar thesis above our previous day highs. Keep an eye on the SPY hold for continuation towards the upside. Main watches today, we'll keep an eye out on Tesla above 324. For AMD, after earnings, we'll keep an eye on that pre-market high along with our after hours lows. I do like NVIDIA a lot as well above that 214. So let's keep an eye out on NVIDIA coming to market open. Other names that I like: Google above our previous day highs for continuation. Microsoft, similar thing. Keep an eye out on that previous day highs for continuation here as well. And then other names: Meta, and then Amazon, I do like a lot. So let's keep an eye on Amazon hourly flag forming here. Above our previous day highs, Amazon can definitely see a move back up and towards that 286 coming into market open here today. Plus that gap, plus that previous kind of all-time highs retest. Amazon does look good for that next leg higher. Let's keep an eye on Amazon push back towards the upside here today. So those are the main ones. Of course, AVGO, I'm keeping an eye on this one for continuation here as well for a pushback towards the upside. There's Oracle, we have Palantir. There's a couple other tickers. And then for MU, SNDK, INTC, and WDC, they have major earnings tonight. So I'll be a little bit more patient on some of the memory tickers with, of course, SanDisk and WDC reporting in the after hours. So focus in on the Meg 7 that are leading the market, and then we'll just be a little bit more patient and keep an eye out on a couple of these other memories in the after hours here, of course. But yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. With that being said, I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care everyone. Peace.